right, everybody, welcome back here on another week of the Patterson Report podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brandon. That's Ryan. I'll never get that right, and it doesn't matter. We're hurting, folks. For those of
we're
you,
hurting in more ways to, point the right direction.
Yeah, for the five of you that probably are listening outside of the greater Philadelphia area, for one, we appreciate you. I'm not sure what keeps you around because it's a very local podcast, but tough times around here. Obviously, you have the Eagles shit their pants on national television on Monday night against the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs. We'll get into that in a second. That's going to be the meat of this podcast. But I want to get into probably the meeting that's happening maybe right now, or maybe it might have just ended. But it's the end-of-year meeting between Jeffrey Lurie and his head coach. And the last time that I heard the kind of rhetoric that surrounded this one was when Doug Peterson went in to present his plan for why he should stay as Eagles head coach. That famously did not go well, and Doug Peterson was quickly no longer the coach of the Eagles. So I didn't know where that meeting was going to go. A report came out following the meeting that other head coaches, offensive coordinators, what have you, have gotten calls from the Eagles, talking about some kind of committee they're putting together to try and pick the next OC and DC, which tells me that they're both gone. So it sounds like Sirianni's coming back based on what you saw Monday night, just in a vacuum. Good idea, bad idea?
Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
Okay.
I don't know how you think about this, but man, when you're a locker room guy and you lost the locker room, that can't be a good sign.
I'm kind of with you. No, good. To finish your thought.
Like, honestly, I've been questioning. I've been back and forth with the thought that what does Sirianni really do for this team? Like, honestly.
Yes. That's the point I want to make too, because I don't know. I'm sure you've seen Jason Kelce came out and supported him. Jalen Hurts supported him. Fletch, BG, the guys you would expect to kind of take up for him have all supported him. But if you listen to what they said he's good at, great leader, believes in the guys, keeps the unit together, which didn't look like that unit was too together. But all of those traits are what I want out of like my strength and conditioning guy, or maybe my line coach or something. Like those are supposed to be your rah us against the world guys. I need my head coach to be good at something.
I want my special teams coach to be us against the world.
Yeah, like I need my head coach to be a brilliant offensive mind, a defensive innovator. Maybe he's a great X's and O's guy. Maybe he's a great player manager. Like I need you to be one of those five things. Your head coach can't be the cheerleader.
Nah, I mean that clip's going around with Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl with blower in Sirianni's hand. I don't know if he was whipping the other sideline the finger. I don't know what he was honestly doing because it was out of frame.
Yeah, I don't know. I get Lurie's point. I do. I get why you don't fire Sirianni. And it's because the team's there. The team's talented enough. We'll get into some moves in a second. But the Eagles have always been a well-run organization built on stability and constantly competing. So I get Lurie not wanting to look at this and go, we've had 3 head coaches in the last decade. I get that you don't want to be that team. But is it worth punting on a season of Jalen Hurts' prime, Devontae Smith still under contract, A.J. Brown, like all these guys? I don't care what it looks like optics-wise. This team's got to win next season. Now I get, and this is what I want to get your opinion on, because the thought process is, well, we'll go find another Shane Steichen, we'll find another Jonathan Gannon, and then we'll prop Nick Sirianni up. And that's great until they have a great season next season. Both coordinators leave, and we're right back here again. So, I mean, in your opinion, is it worth doing it that way just to try and make a run in the title next year and accepting that you're going to fall flat on your face? Or do you just rip the Band-Aid off now and go, We need a fresh voice, fresh leadership, coordinators, head coach, everybody but Jeff Stoutland out of the building.
Yeah, keep the special teams coordinator too. I'm big on special teams. He's
Was that Michael Day, I think his name was.
The development of Jake Elliott's been crucial. He's one of the best kickers in the league. But anyway.
And Britton Covey. Dude, Britton Covey showed out this year.
Even though he did drop that one against Tampa. But yeah.
Well, outside of that.
I could stay in the building, if I'm being honest.
But other than that, we're cleaning house.
Yeah. But, like, it's just one of those things where my decision probably would have been clearer if that report about Mike McCarthy didn't come out about half an hour ago that they're keeping him.
Dude, how are the Cowboys keeping his sorry ass? I don't get it.
Dude, see, that's what makes this decision so much harder.
I think it makes it easier. No one else is in on Vrabel.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he's going. He feels like Seattle, but that's like Pete Carroll, just like younger.
I would love Vrabel in this team. I mean, the Eagles. I'm trying to think of what who, but they don't need a friend. Like I think Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, they were like friends with these guys, and it clearly didn't work. Like you almost need like the iron fist kind of feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think Belichick's gonna land in LA or Atlanta at this point. So like, you could throw him out the window.
I didn't want him anyway I
didn't want him anyway either because him and Howie would just butt heads for like
exactly
the whole year, and same with Lurie. So like, I don't know, but I mean,
so who is
Brady would be nice?
Yeah. So who is your dream staff? It can be with or without Sirianni, but let's hear your ideal DC, OC, and head coach for the 2024-2025 Eagles.
Oh gosh. My dream staff. Okay.
Of who's already indicated that they're available. Like not, I mean, we would all want Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan to come over, but people who are legitimately available to be had.
All right. Well, honestly, I want to start fresh. I want my head coach to be Bobby Slowick from the Houston Texans, the offensive coordinator. We've seen what he's done with CJ Stroud, and we need someone like that for Jalen Hurts again, just to get him in rhythm. Like Bobby Slowick has innovative offenses, and I'm not going to say Nico Collins or Tank Dell were not good, but like we saw this offense elevate them into new heights. And I just think if we could start fresh, that'd be my dream head coaching spot. And it's one of those things where I don't think he would take an offensive coordinator job. Maybe he might get promoted internally, but if we could poach Houston's quarterback coach as well, I think Jalen needs all the help he could get. Then for DC, I haven't really looked at defensive coordinator yet.
So a new name popped up today for DC, which I kind of don't mind. I agree. I love Bobby Slowick. I love Ben Johnson. I think he's gotten a lot out of a little in Detroit. And I'm not saying that team's not talented, but he turned a rookie tight end into one of the best tight ends in football. Jared Goff went from a game manager to a game winner. Ben Johnson's done a great job in Detroit, so I wouldn't mind Ben Johnson. I wouldn't mind Bobby Slowick.
I think Ben Johnson's off the table. I don't. I
who do you think it's him?
Or he goes to like a Washington and gets a fresh quarterback, like with Caleb Williams if they trade up.
Oh, they just let him build his own thing from scratch.
Yeah, I think because he had his choice of jobs last year. Ben Johnson did. He didn't take any of them.
I know. I get the build it from scratch portion of things, but I mean, we don't have a mid-tier quarterback. You're hoping the guy you draft might turn into Jalen Hurts.
It's really, I mean, it's really tough to sort this out because we don't know who wants what, and of course Sirianni's still here, so it's tough to put someone in his shoes while he's still here. But like, of course, we want the home run hires. I mean, there's a lot of names out there that I want that bring a lot X's and O's wise, maybe that's just how I, gravitate towards the sport.
Yeah.
Maybe because I haven't played it. I know I'm outing myself here, but Vrabel, I wouldn't be mad with Vrabel either.
I'd be happy with Vrabel at head coach because then you have at least he's a specialist at something. I mean, you bring in a great offensive mind and you understand that Vrabel's going to run the defense. I'm going to operate in the world where I think Nick Sirianni comes back. I think that's what's happening here. If that's the case, my defensive coordinator, I would love to have the guy from Michigan. I know we interviewed him last year. It didn't work out, but I mean, clearly Sean Desai wasn't the answer. So I'd be all in on him. A name that I didn't think I would like, but I'm kind of coming around on is Ron Rivera came out today and said if he wasn't able to land another head coaching job, he'd be open to DC positions, which I don't think would be a bad thing. I don't think he's a wizard defensively, although Washington did develop some serious defensive talent while he was there. I think he would kind of serve as like that head coach mentor in a way to Nick, to where it's like, hey man, before you go flip off Arrowhead Stadium, how about we not? Or just having like an adult. He feels like he might be the adult in the room, where this year's team I thought was sorely lacking like the adult.
That's the problem. We shouldn't have to have an adult for our head coach.
I agree. No, I'm with you 100%.
I know.
I'm just looking at the reality of it seems like he's coming back. So if you have a child at head coach, you need an adult somewhere else. Now, we should have had Vic Fangio last year, but we're not going to get into that. But we have a chance again to hire somebody who can, kind of steer the ship a little bit, even though that should be your head coach's job.
I don't know. It's just so messy. I mean, we need to get Matt Patricia out of this building quicker than
dude,
God knows what.
As soon as he signed, everybody in Philadelphia had the sense of this is going to end poorly.
And it did.
I don't think anybody expected it to end this poorly. He is so incredibly toxic. Like, look, Ben Johnson is inept. I mean, the offense
you mean Brian
Johnson. Yeah, Ben Johnson, great offensive coordinator. Brian Johnson was completely inept. The offense looked like the offense ran on schedule. They looked put together. They looked practiced. The play calling was just shit. The defense looked like they hated each other and Matt Patricia. I mean, it was one of the legendarily bad defenses the NFL's probably ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, when you run that slant to Devontae Smith that goes 50 yards, you don't call it again.
I know. I know it's bad, but the second, probably the last 10 minutes, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about the Sixers because they had a big win last night. But before we do, I want to go back to our stay or go segment, but flip it to the roster. So we talked head coach, we talked which coordinator should stay. We both think none of them. We'll see what Lurie thinks. But we have a lot of decisions on the roster as to who stays or who goes. DeAndre Swift has said in so many words that he would be open to coming back. He wasn't stoked about it because I don't think we used him right. But he said it was special playing here. I'd love to have him back, of course. Then you go into, James Bradbury. We signed him for a while. He was hot ass the second half of the season. So do you cut bait there and move on? There's no shot in hell Kevin Byard's back, so we didn't even talk about that one. You got guys like BG who asked to come back. Fletch is a year-by-year decision. There's a lot of guys who, if you're building this team, do they stay or do they go?
I've played around with this on Over the Cap more than you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing around with seeing who stays, who goes, what's their cap numbers like. And I think James Bradbury is going to be a post June 1 cut because let me get the exact numbers here because it saves a good bit of money. His cap number next year is, let me check and find that for good.
Yeah, I saw some of the breakdown earlier.
It's
I think
4.3, but it balloons because of the way the contract structured with Howie. So it would be even money this year.
Okay.
You lose $6 million in 2025.
I forgot how backloaded that thing was.
But then in 2026, depending if it's not a void year or not, I gotta look into it more, you'd gain 21 million. I know that's kind of planned for the future with this roster ready to compete right now, but
yeah, but he's not the guy to compete right now. I don't know what happened to him. I have absolutely no idea, but he was. I'm trying to think, dude. Fuck, I'm blanking. Not Namdi Asamoah.
Byron Maxwell.
Yes, he was Byron Maxwell.
Oh, I have all the Philly corners on lock up in here.
Yeah, he was. I mean, Namdi Asamoah was another pretty rough choice. But he was Byron Maxwell bad. So I don't think there's any redeeming him. Plus, you have young guys like Keely Ringo, who I think should get some more runs. Same with Eli Ricks.
You draft another one. It's plain as simple as that.
Yeah. So
you still have the Saints second round pick.
Yeah. So we figure he's gone. That brings us DeAndre Swift. What do you think they do there?
I hope he stays, but knowing Howie, I think he's just going to draft a guy in like round 3, round 4. He's going to go.
Yeah.
It's the Howie way to not keep a running back. Unless we get him at a really good number.
What would be a really good number in your mind?
Oh, gosh. Maybe like top 12, top 15 running back money. Like it has to. He's not going to sign for less.
No, I think you're right. But I mean, per year, that's only, per year, that's like that's 5 to 8. I mean, Saquon Barkley is probably one of the top running backs in the league. He got 10.
12 is Austin Eckler right now on average per year at 6.1. And then Cordell Patterson is 15th, or Bijan Robinson is at 5.5. I feel like that's the number.
If by some miracle DeAndre Swift was willing to accept between 5.5 and 6.5, I think it's a no-brainer.
I think he doesn't go from. I mean, maybe he gets the James Conner number somewhere from someone at 7, but I don't see him making Tony Pollard or Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley kind of money in the 10-11s.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, this is just me, and you're more the analytical guy than I am. But I mean, I think if he's between 5.5 and 6.5, this is Miles Sanders we're talking about. This isn't somebody who might one day do something. He's a 1,000-yard rusher on this team, and he should have had. God, if they used him properly, he runs for 1,500 yards.
It's ridiculous.
So, I mean, I know you're probably losing Jason Kelce, and that's going to matter. But that's all you're losing on the O-line, and you already have his replacement. That seems like a no-brainer to me if you can get him for less than 7.
Yeah, and then as per BG and Fletch, I want them back as long as they play. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
with you. Dude, Fletch this year, people think he's not getting enough credit. Fletch was the second, not the second half, but probably the last 5 games of the year. Fletch was your best D lineman.
Yeah. Which is really, really bad on many of levels, but.
Well, yeah, it's an indictment
it's not a positive, but it's good for Fletch, and I'm happy for him. But like with a team that's invested this much in the D line,
it's rough. I realize as I'm saying this, I'm scrolling Twitter, that no matter how much we want Fletch back, there's a very strong chance he's not coming back.
Oh no, his locker completely cleaned out. Yeah,
and they asked Jordan Davis, what Fletch has meant and all, and the answer was completely in past tense. He was like, he kind of said, he was like, man, Fletch has meant everything to me. I'm not, I'm going to have to, it's going to be a big adjustment next year when I'll have my, my security blanket to kind of lean on and ask questions. And I was like, man, we're losing Fletch, which
I hope he signs like a 1-year deal with like Kansas City or someone like that, Buffalo. Go get another Marine guy. Like, I don't think the city of Philly could turn on that man. He did too much.
Oh no, he'll be loved forever. Same with him, BG, Kelce, and Lane are untouchable pretty much forever, I think. Although it would be really weird to see any of the 3 of them play in another jersey. I know Fletch is going to. He's only 33, and he's had a great season.
It would feel the least weird for him, though. Honestly, if I had to rank him,
for me, it'd be Lane.
Lane's second. BG's first. I can't see that man in another uniform.
I don't think he will. I really don't think he will. I think he'll take whatever the Eagles want to give him to come back. He knows. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if you saw that conversation, but he knows what next year is for him. He said, it's a farewell tour. I'm a mentor to the young guys. He knows he's not being brought back as a piece we're going to lean on.
Yeah, and that's.
I think he'll take whatever Howie can give him.
Yeah, and how he'll do him right. And I'm okay with. I know this is a Phillies problem back in the 2010s. But like it's like a 1 year, like couple $1 million deal, like whatever. Like as long as it's not stringing us in any way, give him whatever he wants.
As long as there's an understanding between both sides that, like, look, BG, this is your farewell tour. We'll do the 1 year for the vet min, slightly above probably, and then we're going to call it quits. You can't have a good season and go, well, maybe one more. No, this is it.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. He's a perfect guy.
He is, but
as long as it's not destroying our cap space, which he won't.
No. All right, we'll see. We'll get back to that later. Eagles season's I don't have the energy. We'll pick a team to follow the rest of the way. For me, I think it's probably going to be Detroit, but I don't have the energy.
You already know. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Okay, good. So we're Team Detroit. We don't need to dive too much into that. Dan Campbell's the man.
They're the easiest team to root for that's left, honestly. Although I do want to see Green Bay go to the championship game and beat San Fran. I'd love that.
That'd be fun. I'd be into that. Now we get to watch football for fun. So now all of your stress, concern, and worry can shift right across the parking lot to the Wells Fargo Center. I got to say, I've been following the Sixers probably as much, if not more, than the Eagles. I'm a basketball guy at heart, always have been. I love this team in a way that I haven't loved the Sixer team really since Jimmy Butler left. I've talked myself into following others, but there hasn't been that. Like, this Sixer team feels like the Phillies in the best way. You have you're headlined by a couple of stars, and you have a bunch of really effective, really lovable role players that play hard. And I don't know if you watched the game last night or not, but it was just so great to see a fully healthy Sixer team. Well, I shouldn't say that. We were missing Melton and missing Covington, but everyone knows what I mean. Embiid healthy at full strength, Jokic healthy at full strength. More importantly, the Nuggets healthy at full strength. And the Sixers just looked like a better basketball team. The Nuggets played well. Jokic played well. Murray got locked up by Pat Bev, but I mean that's just great defense. Like, the Nuggets played their game, Sixers played theirs, and we finally looked like a better basketball team than Denver. And the defense was stronger. I love the offensive sets. Nico Batum is just a wizard passing the ball inside to Joel. Joel had another 40-piece. Tyrese had like 25. Toby had, I think, 24, 26. Pat Bev was big off the bench. Like, I mean, can you remember the last time we talked about the Sixers and I could rattle off 5 or 6 guys that had impactful nights? I mean, I love how deep this team is.
The process when they won a fair game or two. But this is what happens when you have real coaching. Take notes, team across the parking lot. Like,
yeah, dude, I love Nick Nurse. All in on Nick Nurse.
He's done a lot for our wings. Like, Oubre's been sensational for what he costs the team. Batum's been pretty good. Like, it's great when you have all these role players and you don't have to just rely on 3 stars.
Yes, and we've talked about this before, and we're going to keep talking about it until the trade deadline's over, because I worry daily about Daryl Morey and the inability to help himself. And someone's finally agreed with me, and it's Shaq, but I look at this team the way they are, and I'm comfortable with what we got. Now, would I like to see a couple small moves be made? Absolutely. I love Pat Bev to death. I think he's awesome. I would like to see an upgrade running the second unit. I would like to see a better scoring and facilitating point guard running the second unit and use Pat Bev as a defensive specialist. Perfect world. That's what I want. I would like for either Paul Reed or Mo Bamba to seize this backup center job because they're both plenty talented. But if they're not going to, then we got to go get one, because I'm not going to do this narrative again in the playoffs where Joel's plus 20 comes off the floor, the plus minus drops 30 points, and we lose. Now, one of those two guys is good enough to give you 8 to 10 minutes a night. But if they're not going to do it, I don't care what it costs me. I'll give up ridiculous draft capital. Go get me a backup center, whether that's whether that's Kelly Olynyk, whether that's Andre Drummond again. I don't care. Get me somebody tall, because Marcus Morris Sr., as much as I love him, he's a great 3 to 4. He is not a 5. We get bullied on the glass. But that's really it. I don't want to send Batum, Picks, and whoever the hell else for a third star. I just don't see the value.
I might have done it for Pascal, looking at what the deal they got was.
Dude, the Raptors got. So I thought that was a massive overpay. 3 firsts?
I think the Pacers are going to be good. They're 3 late firsts. I'm not really big on draft picks in NBA unless they're like top 5, top 10. But,
Tyrese Maxey is 21.
I know. I understand that. But how many times do you find someone like Tyrese Maxey? It feels like it's really hard to draft in the NBA. And, unless it was that one pick that we have that's extremely late. I forget whose it was. Is it the Lakers or is it the Heat? I forget whose pick it is.
It would have been the Clippers.
It's the Clippers. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm spacing out over here. Of course, it's the Clippers because we traded James Harden to them.
Yeah.
If that's the pick I want to keep the most. Because Philly, as long as Embiid's there, will be good and we'll be picking late. But the Clippers might win the title this year. It's very possible. But in 2027, James Harden's gonna be really old. Kawhi's gonna be really old.
PG's gonna be really old.
Russ is gonna be really old too. So the whole team's gonna be really old.
Yeah. So I don't think this is the year to big game hunt. I just hope Daryl Morey has the restraint to not do it. Because I don't really know how many big fish are really out there.
It was Pascal, and that was it, really. And maybe
DeJounte Murray's still out there.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
The rumors I've heard, they're trying to just give that man away.
Yeah, and unless he is comfortable coming here and running with the second unit, which I'm sure he wouldn't be. I'm not doing this whole Tyrese, you're the third star again bullshit. It's him. It's he and Joel's team, and everybody else fits in around him.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I realize I mentioned
it's too expensive for the second unit, but
I forgot about his contract. You're right. I forgot. He's been so bad. I forgot the bag that he got to play there.
Yeah, 3 firsts and a bag. And now look at San Antonio. They have Wemby because they tanked.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, we can't do that. And Zach LaVine, I don't want any parts of that.
No, there's a reason that dude has not won anywhere he's gone, and I don't need that negativity here. This team, the vibes on this team are so high right now. Anybody you bring in has got to be similar. I don't need a diva. I don't need a James Harden-esque guy. I want a role player who's happy to be here. And the reason I brought up Shaq earlier was because I was watching the post game last night, and they're having the same conversation about, look, the Sixers need a third star. It's the NBA. You got to have a big 3. Who should they go get to be their big 3? 1, that's a false narrative. You don't need a big 3. 2, I thought Shaq had a good point. He was like, the third guy is on this team. And I'm going to lose a lot of listeners here because it's very fun to hate this guy. It's Tobias Harris. And has he been infuriating for most of his time here? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He looks more comfortable in this Nick Nurse offense than I've ever seen him. He's not being asked to create. He's not being asked to carry the offense. He's the true third option. We go to Joel, we go to Tyrese. If both of them are locked up, that means Tobias is on a mismatch. And they let him work. And the game last night was a perfect example of nobody on Denver being able to really hang with him. He's taller than a lot of twos. He's shiftier than a lot of fours. And a lot of your threes are being asked to either come in on the double on Joel or to be, a hand in the face of Tyrese Maxey. So he's kind of had his way. He's coming off 230s and a 26 back to back to back.
Oh no, there was a dud in there because trust me, I played him. I played him in
oh really?
fantasy.
Did I miss a dud?
Like total points. Look at his game log. You'll know which one I played him in.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna look and see if I missed a dud in there somewhere. Houston.
Yep, that's the one I played him in. Yep.
Yeah, because we had 32, 37, 10, 24. But even the 24, it's an efficient 24. It's 8 of 10 shooting.
Oh, yeah, it was perfectly fine. And, it's just, like I said, what a miracle good coaching can do.
Yes, exactly. So I think, I guess I'm going to get crucified for saying it because it's not cool. But, look, Tobias Harris is going to be a sixer the rest of this year. He is. It benefits us to get off the we hate Tobias train and just see what he gives you. He's your third star. I know we're paying him an exorbitant amount of money. That was the sins of a previous front office. There's nothing we can do about it. But as far as the third guy goes, he kind of fits exactly what this team needs him to do.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that
Who else out there would you bring in and go, they're better than Tobias in that role? Pascal, really.
Yeah, that's it. And he's gone, so.
Yeah, so.
It cost me first. So, it's more so I'd play him alongside Tobias. Just figure it out.
That'd be fun. You move Tobias to the.
Pascal at the 4, too.
Pascal at the 4, Tobias at the 4. Yeah, that'd be a fun lineup. But. So
those dreams are dead.
They are. They are. What is yours? We'll end it on this one with a loaded question. Oh, wait, hold on. There was a little piece of somewhat breaking news I wanted to mention.
No.
Somewhat breaking. Happened an hour ago. But Diana Rossini was the one that put out the report that Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman are reaching out to OCs and DCs to set up interviews, indicating that he would be back. She later clarified, though this may suggest that Nick Sirianni is safe, I'm told the meeting with Jeffrey Lurie did in fact not happen today. Until that meeting happens, all bets are off. So the man we once thought was safe, not.
No. Really, I mean, I don't know. I'm so conflicted about it because I see how he acts on the sidelines and sure, true Philly guy, but I need Dom being our true Philly guy on the sidelines, not our head coach.
See, that's where we differ. I love a lot of it. I love the fact, when he was the head bob at the camera, I'm cool with. The playing to the media, I know what I'm doing, stuff like that stuff, and the excitement when we score, run the sideline. I'm cool with all that. That's just being overconfident, cocky kind of in your team. Where he loses me was the double bird to the Chiefs. The two franchises are borderline friends, thanks to the Kelceys, if we're being honest here. The Chiefs, and not that many Eagles fans have beef with the Kansas City Chiefs, if we're being honest. So that was a weird choice. And then he does the same thing with Indianapolis because they fired Frank Reich and he looked up to Frank Reich. Who the fuck cares? That's not your battle, dude.
Yeah, I initially was okay with it because I'm it's because they didn't give him a promotion or something like that, or
he sucked.
You know what I mean?
He sucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When it came out, I'm oh, dude, what really? Come on now.
Yeah, what that's where it loses me. Be as confident and cocky as you want about your own guys because they're your guys, and I get that mindset. But don't go flipping off the Chiefs. We're cool with them. The Colts don't care.
The Philly mindset. It just happens sometimes, I guess.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. That's where
I'm not discounting it. It's terrible. He shouldn't have done that, but he crossed the line a couple of times.
He did.
And I guarantee you, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman did not like any of that. And that meeting is going to address that.
Yeah, because you can do all that shit when you're winning. No one cares when you're winning. As soon as you start losing, though, it looks real corny.
Oh, it did.
And yeah, so to be a fly on the wall in that meeting, I would have paid anything. Although it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see if he even gets.
Howie Roseman's gonna be like, "You wasted 1 year of my perfectly constructed Jalen Hurts contract. What are you doing?"
I keep saying it's the last thing, and I keep lying, but this truly is the last thing.
I can go all night.
Where do you rank Howie Roseman in list of blame for what has happened?
Oh, goodness gracious. Not first, because Sirianni, unless Howie hired and appointed Brian Johnson and Sean Desai, we just don't know about it. I don't think he did.
Usually a head coach gets to make that call.
Usually a head coach gets to make that call, but the Eagles, I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So if he hired them, pretty much top of the list. If we're saying that Nick Sirianni hired them all and, it was his coaching staff, I'd say about 20 to 30%.
That's fair. He built the roster.
He built the roster, and sure, I get it. He loves the trenches, but dude, there's so many other pressing needs. My philosophy is always about spending first round picks on premium positions, whether that be edge rusher, left tackle, right tackle, a premium wide receiver if you need one, like Devontae Smith, or a quarterback. This man went back-to-back years with interior defensive linemen picked. I get it. Jalen Carter, you couldn't pass on. But
no, make that pick every time.
It's a lot devoted to a group that didn't develop, and you saw the deficiencies in the linebacking core, the secondary, all because of the heavy investment on the D-line, which didn't perform up to standard. And I think that's where it all got lost. So,
yeah, I can say I could agree with that percentage-wise. I looked at it more as, like a line, like a list of who's to blame, and I had him fourth. Yeah, really, I had him fourth because you got to go. Sirianni's number one. I'm living in the world where he hired the coordinators. Actually, fifth. Sorry. So it goes Sirianni,
both coordinators,
Matt Patricia, Sean Desai, Brian Johnson. Actually, no, sorry. Sirianni, Matt Patricia, Brian Johnson, Sean Desai, Howie. Because coming into the season, I'm sure we could find our own tapes. We both felt pretty good about the roster he had put together. Now, looking back on it, there's not a whole lot I would do differently, except for the fact, you probably don't pay James Bradbury. But again, at the time, you could have never seen that coming. And you spend at linebacker. Those are the two things where I think, you can really put on Howie Roseman. We don't look at the D line the same way because I don't think it's a developmental issue. I think Jordan Davis is still going to be a stud. I think Jalen Carter is going to be generationally good. Nakobe Dean, we don't know. He's just constantly hurt. Same thing with Nolan Smith. But you got to figure the reason these guys don't develop is we had one mediocre defensive coordinator and one hot garbage defensive coordinator. So I'm willing to reserve judgment on those picks until they get somebody talented teaching them the position.
I'm not saying they're not talented. I'm just saying their positions aren't. Because, when Howie spends a pick on Nolan Smith, and I know this has been highly debated on the Twitter sphere over someone like Brian Branch, who would have helped our secondary immensely with how he's played. And it's not like oh,
Kyle Hamilton too.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, they were diamonds in the rough. Their tape that they put on at their respective colleges, fantastic. The NFL just devalued them both because of the position that they played. And you see them both now making plays on playoff teams that are still alive. So,
yeah, like I said, I'm willing to reserve judgment of the year. Obviously, we both know how football works and how everything kind of intertwines together. And I tend to think that if the defensive line was the defensive line of last year, where not 70 sacks, but you're constantly in quarterbacks' faces. They're uncomfortable. The ball's got to come out quick. That helps your linebackers. That helps your secondary. Without getting any pressure this year, we were asking an already thin secondary to stand up for 4 or 5 seconds at a time, and they were getting roasted. So it's hard to say, which domino fell first, but
this is a really good corner class. See, this is the one thing with Howie though. When he makes mistakes, he usually turns around and fixes them.
That's the one thing you can say about him. So I think he leans. I think he leans secondary this time around.
Corners. I wouldn't be mad if he double dipped. I know we have a couple of young guys, but they weren't, super high draft picks to the point where if there's a stud that Howie likes, just go for it.
Who's your first round? Who's your first corner the Eagles take, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh, this is on the spot. Like, if I had an option of all of them.
Yeah, that's fine. Because I don't expect you to do the analysis right now.
It's very tough to do the analysis right now, but a lot of defense is going to be very good to draft for because Howie's going to have a ton to choose from because I think the top 10 is going to be dominated by offense. There's a couple of really great wide receivers. I'm trying to make sure I get his name right.
While you're looking, I want McKinstry out of Alabama.
I was going to pick the other guy.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think it's Terry and Arnold. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I've been doing ever since the college football playoff. I've been doing some digging on McKinstry, and I've kind of decided he's my guy. And he should, I think, be there. We're gonna pick. I think we pick
22nd.
Yeah, so he should be. I think he should still be there.
I mean, yeah, he went 22nd in this mock, and I wouldn't hate it. It's just. I can't make my judgment yet. I gotta see how these guys tested the combine, and
the combine's bullshit.
I wouldn't say it's complete.
It's not complete bullshit. Dude, but as a diehard Notre Dame fan, I'm wearing the quarter zip. Kyle Hamilton got eviscerated at the combine. He's a stud in the pros.
Dude, and I still knew he was a good pick. If you watch the tape, he was still a good pick. He just didn't. He was a tall safety that just didn't break all the physical aspects of the game, which you shouldn't have expected him to, and somehow teams did. I don't know. I'm more so saying like ball drills and a baseline 40. So you're not like the Lions. I don't know if you remember that pick, Tease Tabor.
Yeah,
you ran like a 4.7 40. Like I'm more so talking about like a baseline, like it, not like a 4.6 guy. You know what I mean? Cut the numbers down a little bit, and if they don't test. So, I know we're running along here, but just like a quick thing on my process, the combine doesn't like destroy or make their grades. One of the biggest things I take into account is the official measurements of these players, because they're measured by NFL, affiliates, and sometimes these websites, the team websites, I don't know what they're called, positions they have them listed taller than they are, heavier than they actually are. You know what I mean? So like, that's the biggest thing I take from the combine.
Okay, that's fair. I can understand that. Well, I'll expect an answer next week. Yeah. The audience can keep us honest. Ryan has to give us his Eagles corner first round pick next week.
I gave it already, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The other guy from Alabama, Terry and Arnold.
Yeah, okay, you're right. All right.
I'd be happy with Kool-Aid though. He's impressed me.
Either side on Alabama will be all right. But until next week, I'm Brandon. That's Ryan. I got it right this time. This has been the Patterson Report.